Hello, podcast listener. This is your host with the most, JJ from JJ Meets World. My goal is to talk to every single person on the world. But before we get to that, we've got to watch Major League 2. This is an audio commentary, a live recorded audio commentary. So get yourself a copy of Major League 2, cue it up, and hear this commentary from Tucker, Lucas, and myself. And by the way, if you'd like to help support our podcast, visit jjmeetsworld.com where you can donate to our Patreon, pick up some killer swag at our merch shop, or click the link to Apple Podcast and give us a 5-star review.
1, 2, 3, 4. J.J. Gordon, sort of like that Indiana Jones, in that he's always sniffing out his next adventure. Yes, he is. He's always interviewing guests so he can have them on his show and they can talk about pop culture, arts, and leisure. J.J. has his flag unfurled and he likes his french fries curled, and he's fun and then he twirls as he goes to meet the world. He will march into the rain even if his ankle sprained. Take a peek inside his brain. This podcast is called J.J. Meets World.
I think Major League, when you ask someone like, oh, name a baseball movie, is one of the first things they talk about. But few people talk about the sequels to Major League. There's Major League 2, and then there's Major League 3, back to the minors. We're going to be watching Major League 2 today.
So we're doing this at my special request.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason we're doing this, so I have a very warm place in my heart for Major League 2.
Okay.
And I figured if I was trying to think of, what would be my Captain Ron, potentially? What would be a movie that I love dearly, but I could totally see if someone else was like, why would you even pay attention to this movie? When I was a kid, anytime that my dad brought me and my sister to school with him on a weekend, let's say he had to go in and get a bunch of grading done or whatever, he would do one of two things. He'd either plop us down in a computer lab where we'd have access to the internet, or he'd move us into he'd find some room that's not getting used and he'd move in the AV cart and he'd have rented some movies and he'll put movies in front of us. And there were 3 movies that were on repeat that we always watched. And it always brings me back to this time period. Major League 2, Hot Shots Part 2, and Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Oh, my.
Those were the 3 movies that my sister and I watched on repeat to the point that we basically had them memorized. And I have not watched this movie since I was a little kid.
There's some shockingly inappropriate stuff in
know.
all 3 of those movies that I
know.
don't feel should have been for kids.
It should not have been. Dad had not really reviewed the movie before.
Right, he's like, oh, look at this. It's a funny make-em-up with the guy from Princess
exactly.
Bride.
He looked at the cover of the movie on the shelf. And the thing is that I saw these sequels well before I ever saw
the originals.
Yeah.
See, that's what is mind-boggling to me, that he wouldn't have just got you Major League.
So Major League is rated R. Major League 2 is rated PG-13, I believe. So it went, and actually, I wouldn't be surprised if the third one went down to PG. Like it was like a more family friendly as it went on.
Well, it's easier to market that,
Right.
I think the third one's definitely PG-13. Scott Bakula's in it.
Okay. Well, then that settles that.
Yeah, and Scott Bakula's always like, hey, I want to push it. I want to be edgy.
The way Major League 2
That was a
opens, Major League 2 basically opens as like, hey, here's what happened in the first movie.
Mhm.
So you're basically kind of caught up. But yeah, so if you're going to watch with us from home, this is just like when we did Nutty Professor 2.
The Clumps.
The Clumps.
Yeah.
Maybe this is my Nutty Professor 2.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. But I love the Nutty Professor, though. I mean, in all honesty, we've done an audio commentary track for both the Nutty Professor, which we did first, and then Nutty Professor 2, The Clumps.
I know.
So
This is reverse order.
this is reverse. So we'll do Major League at one point? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, we are going to do
Okay.
Major League at one point.
And then we're going to do Major League 3, Back to the Minors.
for sure.
Which you probably haven't even seen.
I've never seen it. Was that
See,
straight?
this will be the fun
Was
thing.
that straight to home video?
No, that got released in theaters.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right. So if you are a person, you're going to sync this up at the same time. We're going to count it down and then push play, okay? 3, 2, 1, play.
So it's
Warner Brothers
the
logo.
Warner Brothers logo's up right now.
I love the Warner Brothers logo. I love the shield. Love everything about it.
Well, and that's the old painted logo too,
Yeah.
right?
Morgan Creek is a company that made a bunch of comedies in the like early 90s that I really have come to love. I couldn't tell you another one off the top of my head, but it exists.
How's that lighting, JJ? Is that going to work for you?
This lighting is wonderful.
Okay.
It's beautiful. Ah, Cleveland.
Harry Doyle. Now, has Cleveland changed their baseball team name?
I think it's on the verge of being changed.
That's what I thought.
I don't think it's changed yet, but it's on its way.
Did she just sell the team for $150 million?
So, and as we know, like, there was some recasting done between the first and the second. Not
Yeah.
that you would know that much. But here's the thing. So, the announcer here, Harry Doyle, one of his best roles was Mr. Belvedere on Mr. Belvedere.
Yep.
And he's an actual sports announcer who just walked into these roles of essentially playing himself, which I
Right.
love. Not played by the same person anymore, though.
Yep. You know, JJ, now that I think about it,
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever seen Major League. Because I'm trying to recall. Oh, that's right. He was played by XYZ. Now, Tom Berenger.
Yeah, love Tom Berenger. All of these guys had weird, like, side projects that they did over the years. Like, Corbin Burnson was in a thing where he was a dentist who was going through, like, a mental breakdown. And so then he would, like, torture people and he murdered women and weird stuff. And Tom Berenson had some weird side projects, too, where he was just like a murderer who was a substitute teacher, I think. And, of course, Charlie Sheen is 100%. Hey, Hot Shots and Major League of Charlie Sheen. Maybe your dad just liked Charlie Sheen.
That absolutely could have been it. Oh, Randy Quaid. I totally forgot these characters existed.
Wesley Snipes was Willie Mays Hayes in the first movie, and Randy Quaid. So there must have been a lot of talk about avoiding taxes just while the cameras weren't rolling.
Now, these other two guys went on to do absolutely nothing as far as I know.
Yeah, I don't recognize them at all. And I'm going to tell you something, too. I'm not a big sports person to begin with, but I wish I loved something as much as those guys loved their football team.
Right.
Because they go to every game. Here they are just outside of spring training, like having the time of their life.
It's a lifestyle
I want
for them.
that, right?
It's a lifestyle for them.
Yeah.
Right, so like there's all these like nostalgia cues to the previous film. Like all these, I shouldn't call them nostalgia cues, but fan cues, you know?
Mm-hmm. To the fact that he was Wild Thing in the previous season.
And Isaac had no idea like why they were all doing this.
False alarm. I mean, I remember Major League 2 quite a bit as well.
Yeah, no kidding. This music's great.
Whenever I see a limousine, I always think, must be Burt Reynolds or something.
Man, Wild Thing is sold out. He's a square now.
Allison Duty. I love Allison Duty. I was just talking about her with my wife the other day.
Really?
Yeah. Now, here's the thing. When you see how bad Tom Berenger is, like at the very beginning of this, and obviously his cue from the first movie is the fact that he's got bad knees. Why is he still playing? Like, period. And I know that becomes a plot point in this one.
Right.
But honest to God, he just shouldn't be playing.
Yeah.
Period.
He just can't let it go. You know, the game is in him. Now, this was me and my sister's favorite character.
Who has to memorize the Playboy stuff?
Yep. Who says, "Women, you can't live with them, and they can't be standing up." That line's coming up.
I also love the fact that they like whoever wrote this script was like, well, we're gonna make this really on the nose. We're gonna name him Rube.
What is it? He won't throw to first?
Can't throw to the pitcher, right? Like he throws to second automatically, doesn't he?
I love this entourage shot here.
Right?
All the lawyers and other people, and
it's one of those things where it's like you kind of imagine that like they're just, people are all just crouched on the other side of the car.
This is one of those shots though that has always stuck with me that I really want to recreate in a movie at some point.
Really?
Yeah. And it would basically be an homage to to Major League 2.
Omar Epps went on to be on the show House, which is one of the most overrated shows of all time.
Okay.
And I imagine this must have been tough for him to like, he's like, I'm going to walk into a role that was made pretty famous, like in the first movie. And I wonder, like, are you thinking like, I'm going to do my best Wesley Snipes impression or I'm going to really own this character for myself?
How big was Major League?
Oh, it was huge. It was massive. It was one of, I think, the top grossing sports films of all time. Especially for an R-rated comedy.
Is he in the first one?
Nope.
This villain guy? God, he looks like he just smells like a bar.
Mm-hmm.
What is the job? Oh, just like the first catcher, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I love that in his locker, it's the articles he has up.
Yeah, and it's only the profiles of Playboy Playmates. Now, Dennis Haysbert goes on to be in the show 24, voicing a series of insurance commercials.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, man.
So here's like a joke based off the first movie that my sister and I had zero context for.
Right? Here's the thing. What I don't understand is it takes one off season for these guys to completely like flip their lives, you know, like in a 180. Also, how bad is Cleveland at baseball that they're like, well, we need to make some money, so sure, we'll let you, because they could have created a fictitious team,
Right.
just as easily,
Right.
Because it's clear that they like. I'm guessing that they're actually filming in the like locker room for the Cleveland.
They
Indians.
very well could be. So it's sort of like everyone has come back and they've lost their edge.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically they are not the finely tuned athletes they were in the previous film.
Do you ever see the movie Cabin Boy?
Yeah.
Okay. One of my favorite characters in Cabin Boy is the really old sailor that lives on the ship.
Yeah.
And that's also the manager.
Okay.
And he's got this part where he's really drunk and he grabs Chris Elliott and he goes, "You want to learn some sailor Swahili? I think Jalinka. That means I kissed a girl." Ah! It is, honest to God, one of my favorite moments in movie history because I laugh so hard every time I watch it for no reason whatsoever. So I hear that voice and it just brings me back.
I could have swore for 1 second there I just saw Jack Black as an extra. And there's no way that was, but now I'm going to have to IMDb this thing at some point.
I mean, that would be pretty bold. Like, he'd be very young.
Yeah, okay.
Because you know what movie year this movie's from?
I actually have no idea.
Like 93, 94?
That makes sense.
Look at all that marketing. Dunkin' Donuts, Diet Pepsi, Foot Locker.
This is one of those movies where you're like, oh, you can put the advertising in so easily.
Easily, yeah. I love some of the creative ways people have put advertising into movies.
It's just the picture.
Yeah.
But Tom Berenger would be a good stepdad.
Oh, great stepdad.
I love that.
I love how like innocent they make him too. Doggone it, geez, Louise. You know what's amazing too is like they're doing Tom Berenger's role, like they've already set him up that like, oh, he could take over part of like the management of the team.
Right. Now that's some dated clothing right there. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
That other lady got paid that day to show up and sit in that car.
Yep.
Be like, we have this one shot where they think you're the hot chick, but even though you're a hot chick, but there's another chick that's hotter than you.
She was cast like literally. They were like walking through a bar and they're like, "How about her? Let's go up." And she was approached by someone who claimed to be a movie producer and wanted her to be in a major league movie.
So who was that lady waiting for? Okay, this is my favorite moment.
With Jesse Ventura.
My sister and I laughed so hard at this. I love the shot in the butt. Okay, so here's the thing. This was the scene that I thought of recently that's made this movie be in my head. I actually want to see them make this movie.
Black Hammer and White Lightning?
Yeah, with those actors.
Oh, Jesse Ventura doesn't have much going on right now, so you could probably do that. Here's the thing, like, so when I watch that trailer, I have to imagine that it's sort of poking fun at Wesley Snipes because this is the time when Wesley Snipes is making like the parachute action movie and stuff.
Good point. Look at this guy behind them with the lady in either arm and the weird pants. That's some weird character choice stuff going on there.
I mean, this is supposed to be like, it must be like Florida, right? Because this is spring training, so.
It doesn't just happen in Cleveland?
Oh, spring training doesn't happen, where you're like in your own spot.
I know absolutely nothing about all sports. Like, I'm pretty sure this is baseball, right?
This is professional baseball.
Huh. I did not catch that ever as a kid. I had no idea what that even
was in this movie.
Yeah.
So in the first movie, to get the full effect of this, is he had like his whole locker was all voodoo stuff.
Uh-huh.
And so now he's, living this like Buddhist monk.
He was an angry
know.
guy, right? He was
Yeah.
an angry, aggressive guy.
Mhm.
I love
Another
that
Pepsi
guy.
sponsorship, yeah. The practice picture, like earlier, he's smoking a cigarette. You like Playboy, don't you, Rube?
He's just got one just laying out there on the ground.
Why is that such a hard thing for people to believe that, like, here's the deal. If you wanted just pornography, you'd get another publication that's just pornography.
Yep.
But that's the thing about Playboy is, so in my, like, at my home, in my recipe cabinet, I've got probably 70 pages torn out from Playboys about, like, how to cook the perfect steak, marinades for stuff, the best steakhouses if you're going to go to places. I mean, they're very like, rah-rah, like I'm a dude who loves meat. But I mean, they do have some pretty amazing articles, and they've interviewed some pretty amazing people over the years. I love, like, so the manager is one of my favorite characters because I love he's just kind of like down home, like
Right.
perfect for the like general wisdom. Oh no, not Tom Berenger.
Ouch. Ouch.
You know how I love how they signal that he's evil because he wears sunglasses.
Yeah, that's true.
Too bad you never saw Thanos wearing sunglasses.
Yeah.
You'd really know where he stood. Oh, they're looking for the cut cards.
So the red card means you've been cut. Okay. That's right. Some other product placement right there. Some aftershave and some...
Brute. Who doesn't love a good can of Brute? So here's something I don't get. So you get hired to be on this professional baseball team, but then you might not make it onto the team?
Right.
Corbin Burnson was, like he and Christopher McDonald tied for like being the greatest douches. Like they just played such amazing characters.
They need to have a road movie together.
Oh my God, I would watch that in a heartbeat.
Just the two of them.
Or maybe like maybe he's like Shooter McGavin's brother. Like here's the thing, I would watch a Shooter McGavin movie if I was given the opportunity.
100%. In fact, I'm ready to start that Kickstarter right now just to convince.
Should we? His career is over. God, I love pastrami. I love a good, thick pastrami sandwich on rye bread. Oh, my God.
He's like, I'm the sniper, man.
What, it only took like 15, 20 minutes to get Rene Russo on screen?
I'm trying to remember how often she comes back on screen in this movie.
Is she drinking milk?
Yeah. I think they're having milk and cookies. God, milk and cookies sounds amazing right now. I haven't had
What is
breakfast yet.
Just some random tomatoes over there?
No, those are oranges.
Are they?
Yes.
Oh, they should have redone the coloring in this movie. So where's someone's gray card?
Just who leaves a bunch of tomatoes out on the
And on a
the
wicker
table.
basket.
So he's living at a hotel.
Yeah, because this is spring training.
Got
So
it.
they're all down Florida.
Got his back. That is a
Aw.
fantastic shirt.
I'm a little jealous of that shirt.
He went home, took off his uniform, and put that on.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is where he meets his new girlfriend, right? That's
So
right.
this is, they lifted this exact plot line and made it a big part of the movie Basketball. Like 5 or 6 years later.
She's so calculated.
Mm-hmm. She's like any great PR person. Hi, Rick.
Oh, it's his old girlfriend.
Uh-huh.
That's right.
What does that kid know about prime rib?
That camera guy, I've seen him before. I just don't know where.
Oh, bull.
Oh.
Why is he standing in front of the kids?
Because it's best for the movie camera angle.
Right?
And those other kids, it's just, hey, are we in this photo?
If you look, some of those kids are staring right at the camera.
Why would you do this moment in front of the kids?
Also, what are the odds that that Allison Doody chose like this specific setup?
She is objectively more attractive than the blonde, I think.
You think so?
I think so. Yeah.
But she lacks power.
Now, I think this probably dates this movie more than anything.
Like, because this is like before like Jay Leno got chubby as the host of the Tonight Show.
When did the whole battle happen? Like, when was the transition?
I think it was like 91 or 92.
So this is only like 2 years after that.
Mm-hmm. Now, that NBC logo is interesting because Universal owns NBC. I don't know if they did it this time, but this is a Warner Brothers picture.
Right.
Oh, scandal.
Ooh, yeah.
Have you ever seen the movie The Night Shift?
No.
It's an HBO original movie, and it's about who takes over the Tonight Show. And so there's a guy who plays Letterman and a guy who plays Leno, and the guy who plays Leno, he really plays him up like this, you know. He talks about, I hope that my loyalty at NBC is rewarded. And it's a great movie. Kathy Bates is in it. Like, it's fantastic. When you find out all the ins and outs of like what it took to get Leno on the Tonight Show and how they had promised it to Letterman at one point, and
I would have had no idea what transvestite means when I watched this the first time. Ow! I would love to see an entire montage of all the times late shows play themselves in movies.
Oh my God, that would be amazing.
Every time, and it has to be a scene that has the actual host on the actual set. So is he from the first movie?
Yeah.
This second guy?
Mm-hmm. No. Is he? No, I don't think he is. Because this is where you get like the great things like, great addition, Monty.
He's one of those guys that could easily just be one of the writers in the movie or something.
Uh-huh.
I'm digging watching all the background action that they've had to repeat, like the getting the money.
Mm-hmm. See another big Pepsi logo.
That is a Bruce Buffer jacket right there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, boy. This movie does not age well.
Nope, it does not. Ugh. There's going to be a lot of moments of that in this movie where you just go, ugh. Ugh.
Now, we're streaming this, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. I wonder if they'll be adding a disclaimer to the beginning of the movie going forward.
I can see that.
I have a feeling that they didn't even really need to write a script for Bob Uecker. They're just like, just do your thing.
He probably did just riff.
Mm-hmm. When was the last time you saw Randy Quaid in a movie, do you think?
One of the weird things that he like dropped on the internet was probably the last video of him I ever saw.
I think the last time I saw him in a movie was Brokeback Mountain.
Oh, that's right. He was in that.
He's like the ranch owner.
I totally forgot about that.
Hey, Tucker, what's the business end of the shillelagh?
It's whatever and I'm beating you with. Yeah, that's right.
Yep. It's ironic that we're doing this right now because we're just like a smidge off from the playoffs. As at the time of recording, we should have really been doing this back in June, but you know.
Well, and like baseball now has no crowd. Like this is another thing that dates this movie is that we're seeing an actual crowd sitting out here.
So I know a couple of people who call games professionally, and it is a skill set that most people do not have.
Oh, yeah.
To be able to sit there and call, you know, like for example, you go back and listen to our interview with Tucker's uncle, Paul McDonald.
Yep.
And he's got that skill to be able to go out there and like riff off these facts and be able to, you know, like cover it. Because in sports, there are all these moments where you don't have anything going on.
Right.
You know, someone's walking out of the dugout. I wrote, based off Bob Uecker in this movie, I wrote a bit that my old radio partner Scotch and I did about two guys who are calling a baseball game, and it's like, whoa, I hope that ball has the appropriate documents and has checked themselves in with TSA because they are out of here. And it was just a bunch of like stupid quips and stuff like that. I loved it. It was one of my favorite bits. In fact, it's one of the times in radio where I could not record a piece and I kept laughing so hard that they had to give the line to somebody else. I couldn't deliver it.
I love that every time his hit gets caught, it's in front of the same three fans.
Right.
And speaking of my Uncle Paul, yeah, Like there have been a couple of times as a kid where I got to actually sit in the booth with him and watch him do his work.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It really truly is. Like how he's able to just fill for time. And he's done it so much that it's like he doesn't have to think about it. You know, it just comes off like riding a bicycle.
I mean, it is a skill. It's something, it's like muscle memory takes over. So this movie clearly explains the fact that, like, because I always thought as a kid, like, why don't they just have the whole team hit home runs?
Right.
Like,
exactly.
why are they not hitting home runs all the time? But it's because you want to get multiple people on bases. You need people who can, have a line drive and who can get it past the shortstop so that you can get a couple people on bases so that you, in your batting order, you have the guy who's going to hit a home run, like batting fourth.
Yep.
So that you can load the bases and then score more, which is a problem that's going on with this movie right now. Willie Mays Hayes keeps trying to get home runs, but he should be getting on base.
I love this that he just doesn't return a single high five.
Yeah. Nice shot of some birds.
Well, you have to
That's a
establish.
second unit.
Yep. I love that pitcher.
Honestly, though, okay, so if this happened in real life today, this player would be like a god to people out there. The fact that, like, he gave up the opportunity for this and, like, it'd be huge.
So there's that famous story of, I think it was the Mariners
Fabio?
pitcher.
Oh, no, yeah.
No, who killed a bird with a pitch in a game. And the video is insane because the bird explodes into a tuft of just feathers because this baseball hits it at like 100 miles an hour. I love that this is how he's figuring it out.
It's a joke that doesn't age.
Now, is the idea that they didn't have advertising, so he just sold whatever he could?
Correct. Well, and like in a major league ballpark, you're gonna see ads for Target or Goodyear, like major brands. He's selling them to like schmucks,
right?
Like like local guys. Ooh, burn.
Ooch.
Oh my God, look at this apartment.
Yeah, look at that lava lamp. You think that's a choice that would actually get made?
Yes.
Oh God, pinball, love it. Love the neon dragon. Those massive speakers for that little CRT.
Mm-hmm.
How much cocaine do you think Charlie Sheen was on at this moment in his career?
Oh my God, so much. I think that Charlie Sheen is one of those actors who, for whatever reason, thought he was more famous than he was. Because here's the deal. I don't think that at any time anyone is ever putting Charlie Sheen in a movie thinking like, oh, this is a guaranteed $75 million because we have him here. And Charlie, if you're listening to this, I'm sorry. But that's just the way it is.
We all can't be your brother.
Right.
We all can't be Emilio, the real star.
Well, even like think about his dad, like Martin Sheen, right? Like way more bankable. Like today, if you told me that Charlie Sheen was headlining a movie, I don't know if it would actually get funding.
This scene would make me and my sister giggle so hard.
Because they're all wearing such white clothing.
Well, because of the how he's getting it wrong at the end.
Oh, this guy went on to do a lot. He was in Jurassic World Part 2.
Also, The West Wing.
Oh, yeah.
For all 7 seasons. Wait, what Charlie Sheen movie is he doing one for a deodorant and he's holding it upside down? Is that this movie?
I think that's the first one, isn't it?
I don't think so. I
remember they do American Express in the first one because there's like.
I just have a memory of him doing a deodorant commercial, and he's holding it upside down, and they say the director goes upside down, and he goes upside down,
and then he repeats it upside down.
Yeah.
Maybe it is this one.
There must be a second, because that was a deodorant commercial, right? He's saying it's flaky and other stuff.
Yeah.
He must do another deodorant commercial in this movie.
Valiant Beer. Do you think it's a real beer company?
Oh,
this
okay.
must be it.
Okay, good. Wasn't a false memory.
Would be uncivilized.
There we go. Okay.
I remember having like my cousin read the subtitles for me when I was a kid because I just wasn't like fast enough at reading, and he would not read the word shitty.
I like the no autograph sign.
Do you think he'd really remember that kid's name?
That surprised me. So I'm trying to I feel like she's sort of manipulating this so she can see her ex-boyfriend.
Mm-hmm. Like, for example, if I showed up to an event that had been highly publicized through my radio station and I had an ex-girlfriend who just randomly showed up once, twice, 3 times.
Yeah, with the at-risk youth that she works with. Did you? Oh, they're still in love with each other, JJ.
They are. They made an excellent choice with her for her lipstick color.
This is it. This is my favorite. This is my sister and I would repeat this all the time.
You'll be happy to know Rube is in the third Major
He is?
League
Okay,
movie.
good. Some great corduroy there.
Oh my God. I just love the set dressing, how they've got a couple of bottles knocked over.
Dude, I need to find it. At one point, my dad and Pat
This is great. I love how he throws it back like.
Anyways, we have a family photo of all of us in like full corduroy suits matching. No, I'm sorry, blue denim suits. My
Ooh.
dad, my stepmom, my stepbrother, me, and my sister.
I want to see that very bad.
But I don't know if it exists anymore, right? Like, I don't know who has it, where it is. That's a burn right there. Therapist takes your baseball away from you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I've never been to therapy. Do you actually lay on a couch? Do you know?
I
also don't know therapists who've ever told me that they lay on a couch.
I am in therapy, and the first time I went to this therapist, I sat on a couch, but I didn't lay down on it.
Do you look at your therapist? 'Cause
Yeah.
to me, like, the whole point of this is that you don't have eye to eye with this person.
Well, I think this is like a Freudian idea or something. Like, this is how you do it. I've never heard of this actually happening this way.
So, but this is how it's depicted in like every movie, right?
Yep.
Parkman. Ooh, a trade. The- It must be really hard to play a part and have the costume designer like approach you and say like, "Oh, hey, we're going to do this," and be like, "No, I don't feel like that's culturally sensitive. I certainly don't feel like it represents, my heritage." But they're like, "No, no, no, trust me. If we give you a samurai sword, it's going to be funny."
Yeah. Cultural sensitivity wasn't one of their goals when they made this movie, I think.
This came out, okay, Mr. Baseball with Tom Selleck, where he gets traded to a Japanese team and he's too tall for everything, like the bathtubs and stuff like that. You had Angels in the Outfield, Rookie of the Year. I mean, there was an onslaught of baseball movies at this time. If you want to make a movie that's going to have residuals forever and ever and ever, make a sports movie.
That's true. Yeah.
Even like the sports movies that didn't get a lot of acclaim when it came out, like The $1 Million Arm is a movie that's got John Hammond. It's a Disney movie. I'd probably seen it 7 or 8 times.
It has a built-in audience.
It does.
Ruh-roh. So she wants to sell them, right? is the
No,
idea?
so she just sold them to Dorn, right?
Right, and
In the
she-
first movie, what she wanted to do was to move the team down to Florida. If the team was bad enough, they wouldn't like renew their contract with Cleveland.
Gotcha.
They'd move them down to Florida, which is what she wanted. She inherited a ton of money, including the team from her. Like she was like a gold digger, and so in this case now it's personal, and she wants them to lose.
Yeah, so for like the worst deal he could have made, he buys a team for 150 mil and then probably sells it back to her for like
40, 50 million
yeah,
tops.
Yeah. Yeah. This would have been one of those things like, we need you to seem like you're going to have a heart attack, but we don't actually want you to have a heart attack.
Right.
There's some product placement right there
Hmm?
next to the heart attack shot. Man, that's a depressing hospital room.
Mm-hmm. I think he gets a different room at one point.
Well, they put a TV up in the corner because they're making him watch.
Right, but doesn't he end up having to use like a radio because he gets too agitated?
Yeah, so he's watching the British show, but he's listening to the game on the radio because
Right.
they don't want him to get so upset. Even like with the music choice when
Mhm.
it's this actor, it's like, yeah, this was made in a different time.
There are people out there who don't think that the change in the way we view race and talk about race
Right.
needs to change. They need to watch Major League 2 and with an open mind and be like, you think that this is all right. My bows. My friends and I used to say that in reference to balls all the time.
You have no marbles.
Marbles. Yeah.
You told him you have no balls, and that's the thing that's really going to wake him up out of his
Right.
peaceful stupor. He does a great drunk.
I know. And I love how his clothing changes. The way he flashes his eyes are brilliant. Caught. There is a
I
great.
think this is the best baseball movie of all time, JJ.
You think so?
I think so. For me, it is.
There's a great stand-up comedian. Oh, I wish I could remember. Is it Haywood Banks, who was on the Bob and Tom show back in the day, and he does an amazing bit about Harry Carey calling the first baseball game ever. And if you can look it up, I think you can find it on YouTube. It is well worth your time. Okay, this is another great thing because they could have just had Randy Quaid's character, right? But
Yep.
by adding his two buddies, you really add like a different feeling to this, right? Ooh. You know what else sucks about this? Little Big League. How did I forget about that one? Where a kid inherits the Minnesota Twins. Look how many players are on this team, but they really only focus on like 4.
I know. Oof.
I don't get it. What's a Johnson?
This is one of the hallmarks of a baseball movie, is like the team
The fight?
Yep. The barn breast, just the brawl. Like if it was a cartoon, it would be a giant dust cloud, and you would just be seeing like arms and legs kicking in and out of it.
Mm-hmm.
I love that the mascot gets in on it. Has that ever happened in a game where
That is an excellent question.
where just one team just fights itself, and the other team goes, "Are we gonna win this?" I guess because.
Go Rube.
I love that phrase. I gotta start using that phrase, man. He's acting like his best pig died. What else has this guy done?
He plays Rube?
Yeah.
That's a good question. Because I feel like he could just keep playing that character over and over and over again, right? Like,
Yeah. But I feel like I've seen him a lot, but I cannot think of another place I've seen him.
this is 1994, by the way. Movie came out in 94.
Okay.
All right, Rube. He played a character named Cooter Menkins on the television show Glee.
So they're all basically like
Southern,
hicks.
like, yuck.
See, now they've found their true self, so they're taking their
Yep.
all their extra weight that they don't need.
Ooh, he was in Starship Troopers.
Oh,
We all love that movie.
Yeah.
He was in Crimson Tide. Oh, he was also in Dragon, the Bruce Lee story, Tucker.
That's right. He's the like the heavy who tries to beat him up in the weight room, and then Bruce. That's right. That's where I've seen him from before.
He's also in one of my favorite movies from the 80s, Can't Buy Me Love.
Okay. What's his name?
His real name is Eric Bruscotter. Rube got him back together. He just needed to, like, really get him going.
Yeah.
You ever been to Cleveland?
Trying to think. I think I've passed through. I don't think I've ever spent time in Cleveland.
The Mistake by the Lake. I actually think he was out right there.
That's not good for the plot, JJ. The plot needs him to be in right now.
Now, I have never heard of someone stealing home.
There are a couple extras in these shots here that I'm like, there's no way that's a baseball player.
Right.
Toronto wants a bet. Do you think when they audition people to play baseball managers, they're like, show us you chewing gum?
Yep. Without a doubt. They're like, how can you wear your hat not completely on your head?
Tom Berenger's got that movie star hair.
I remember when Jesse Ventura was running for governor of Minnesota, and they showed that clip from this movie over and over and over again. I love it. And she's redone the owner's box.
I love the owner's box. I like she has her two like harem men with her at all times. I love that rope lighting she's got.
Uh-oh.
So it's her place or is it their place?
I think it's their place.
Yeah, she messed up.
What else Allison Duty's been in a bunch of stuff, and there's something that I just watched recently that she was in. The good old song. Oh, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. That's what it was. She's the evil German, scientist.
Okay, yeah. God, does Rube have most of the scenes in this movie?
He has all the good scenes.
He does.
I mean, clearly, he saves, not only the team in the plot of the movie, but he actually is maybe the best part of this movie. Because here's the thing. This movie is all about these characters shifting to something that we don't like, right? One of the reasons we loved Vaughn in the first one was he was, a convict who could throw a hell of a fastball.
Right.
He has no redeeming qualities in this. Even when he hits on his ex-girlfriend who we liked from the first one, he gets thrown out and he becomes like, I don't want to stand out there. So Rube is the thing that actually is gluing all of these scenes back together.
He's like the Thor Ragnarok's Korg.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. Got a real Johnny Cash thing happening here, the man in all black.
You can tell it's a look at that chalkboard. You don't see chalkboards anymore. This is a school you do not see anymore.
She dressed like she fell out of a Nirvana music video. This is what I want in a pizza parlor, by the way.
I want exactly that tablecloth.
I want the red votive candle.
Yeah.
This is what I want in a pizza place around town.
I want that shaker with the Parmesan and the red pepper flakes.
Mm-hmm.
What was that Dalmatian just doing in the back?
Here we see it again. It's being walked very awkwardly. It's not on a leash. She's just holding on to...
Doesn't want to participate.
Is it being stolen?
You know, it's funny. I don't even remember this scene. This is like the one scene so far that I just don't remember. I must have tuned out because I was a little kid. It was like,
'Cause you didn't want the love story.
yeah. That kid just walked past again. It's the same kid that was with the Dalmatian. You gotta have the squealing guitar.
Mm-hmm.
So bad. So now that must be on the back of a truck, right?
Right. He's clearly not driving it.
This was what it was to be a cool guy.
Could
This
you pop
was
a
the
wheelie
image.
on your bicycle?
This was the image. Leather jacket, slick back hair, motorcycle.
Kissing by the lake.
Whatever happened to the White Sox boyfriend?
Also, is this clearly not written 100% by a man where she's like, she likes the bad boy and she's going to go back to him even after he didn't call her and like completely just ditched her?
How many people does that just totally offend right there?
Oh,
That
so many.
That one scene.
So many.
The comeback is happening. Mom, I'm in a movie. I'm playing a photographer next to this guy as he catches a baseball. Really caught him with their pants down there.
Yeah. Oh, Rube. Look at that play.
See, if this was something that was happening more like these killer, like made for movie plays were happening all the time in baseball, I'd probably
Watch
watch
'em.
baseball. I like going to baseball games with
Yeah?
friends. It is fun. Have some drinks, some food, be outside, watch a sport like that. I totally get, but I couldn't
Did you say
like
pee outside?
no be outside.
Oh, I thought you said pee outside. And I'm like, you can't do that at a ball game.
Like she's in her formal wear at all of these.
Mm-hmm. There you go, the twins.
You know, that'd be another good movie montage would be of comeback montages. See, how would the photographer had gotten right there in that angle on him?
Well, I mean, an amazing telephoto lens.
So now it's just Charlie Sheen's apartment.
Right. But she still has a key. Don't do it, Vaughn. You're back on top. Now she wants you because you're on top.
General Mills? Is that what she said?
General Cereal Company.
Okay, if I was CEO of Big General Mills and I was throwing a black tie event, it would be all bowls of cereal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Here's the thing. Could they not get General Mills to sign on? They've gotten everybody
General
else.
Cereal.
They had Play It Against Sports.
Trying to see what pinball game that is.
So like in 2 years, she kisses Harrison Ford, Sean Connery, and Charlie Sheen in movies. Allison Duty was crushing it. I remember when Evian was like the only bottled water you could get.
Yeah.
It was super expensive.
I like that her heavies are always matching her too.
Uh-huh. It's rare you get like a good horse reference like that. Is that even allowed?
I believe it is.
Is it?
I believe it is.
The whole time Randy Quaid is just like, hey, Dennis Quaid is my brother. You guys know Dennis Quaid? Also, they've played what at this point? Like 12 games we've seen in that montage? Well, that's a long time for their manager to be in the hospital.
Yeah. But he had a very, very severe heart attack. In fact, he's probably had a few since then.
Why didn't you just bring a whole box of signed balls?
He's got to let the kids down. He's got to let little Ricky down. He made him some cakes and stuff, and he's got to go to the General Cereals.
What?
What a puke head.
You ruined it, Vaughn. You always ruin it. Get back in your Rolls Royce.
Imagine being that driver being like, ugh.
Awkward.
Hey, can I still get a Christmas bonus?
Mr. Vaughn, I know you had me queue up that song on the CD player. Do you want me to skip it?
Oh,
there we
you
go.
go.
There it explains it. Why are they dropping him off and not like his family?
I don't think he has family. I think they're his family.
Oh.
Because they don't go to the World Series in this, right? They just win like
yeah, I think so. Yeah, but Parkman had touched the plate, though.
I love that this entire piece of music was made off of a Casio keyboard.
Right. There was only one guy. They only needed one guy in like this giant studio recording room.
Boom, boom, ba, boom, ba, da, ba, boom, ba. Did they ever release this soundtrack?
Oh, I bet you they did. Do you want it for your birthday?
I'm looking it up right now.
Uh-oh.
There is an album.
Get
Major
it.
League 2, the album. Oh my goodness.
Only released on cassette?
Huh? That's by Morgan Creek Records, original soundtrack. Oh, you can get the soundtrack on Spotify.
Nice.
Yeah, check this out. Look. Let's give it an album cover and everything.
And look who makes like the cover of it. A giant just like mind game.
This was released on both cassette and CD in 1995. So I could, hopefully when I'm CD diving at the different thrift shops,
You find this?
I'm going to run across it somewhere and get it for $1.
Make it a great ringtone.
Now, that's one of her guys, right? Yeah, it's not just some.
All right, we're casting a beefcake.
He's back to his full
Back
Bruce
to his
Buffer.
good, yeah.
Full Bruce Buffer. Love it. Yeah. So this is the game.
Right. Come on, Charlie.
Okay, so it's not the game because that was a winning shot.
See, I don't understand why he's so afraid of this guy, right? Like,
Right.
if this guy had been dating that girl,
Right.
right? Like, give me some reasons.
In fact, I'm kind of surprised they didn't make that part of this. Everyone's freaking out, losing their cool. Why are the White Sox the bad guy team in sports movies?
Sports, because everyone felt bad for the Cubs, so you didn't want to make fun of the Cubs.
Man, I've been in locker rooms before, and every time I see this locker room, I can smell locker rooms,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's disgusting.
You know what I noticed about his management desk? There's not a single computer on it.
See, do rich people really dress like that when they're just chilling?
I imagine so. Okay, so you notice how they always call the manager Skip? Hey, Skip.
Yeah.
I've always wanted that to be my nickname. Hey,
Skip?
This could have been Skip Meets World.
I love the lounging. I mean, you just sit down on this couch and then you're going to get back up again.
He's really going to give it to him. Why is the ankle cocked? Do you see that?
Yeah.
Is this like a horror movie?
It's like a Michael Bay scene. Michael Bay was the second unit director maybe that day.
It's like, sorry, the gimbal was off.
It's like, where's he going? So he was already planning on going somewhere. I guess that's why he was all dressed up. Thought he was just hanging.
I think he was. He was just shooting pool by himself. And now he's like, I'm going to go out and prove to Jake that I'm not an asshole. Do you think part of his contract was like, I get to choose whatever I want from the set and take it home for my own?
Okay, if you were going to take one thing home from his, what would you take?
I would probably take that dragon, that neon dragon with the fire. What about you?
Well, I have to find out what the pinball games are. But if they're not something I'm into, then it might just be that CRT TV. Looked kind of nice. Cut to, yep. Is it VC? VS? Oh, no. Oh, Fredericks of Hollywood.
Uh-huh.
That's right.
Win it for Lou. You know, those machines should be bubbling, but they must have made too much noise
What
or
is
too
that?
distracting. It's like a fruit juice, right? Like,
Is it?
Yeah,
have no
like
idea
you
what
find
I'm-
like at 7-Eleven.
It's like we need a Kool-Aid dispenser.
No person admitted to this park shall transmit or aid in the transmission of any description, account, picture, reproduction of any baseball game. I mean, they even have the MLB logo as part of this. Could you understand that?
He's got some Wolverine hair going on, Tom Berenger.
Mm-hmm. Just think, when this movie was being made, the X-Men animated series was on, right? And
Yeah.
there was talk of
Yeah.
making an X-Men movie. And so these are the people that they were thinking of casting.
Yep.
These were the stars of the time. Tom Berenger could have been Professor X. Charlie Sheen could have been our Wolverine. Corbin Burnson could have been our our Cyclops.
So this is the game, the game.
This is the game that's going to get them into the World Series.
So, because they're... How many games do they play against a team before they get to the World Series? Because...
For a playoff?
Yeah.
I don't know, 5?
There are so many games in baseball.
So maybe it's like 2-2 right now.
My goodness. Yeah, they're the bad guy of baseball movies.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that laptop screen back there.
Randy Quaid.
They've got
Now,
great
see-
seats.
Randy Quaid was a pretty bankable star for someone like for comedy. Could you throw this back to the picture for me, please?
So, is that a thing? The ump is like,
Sure.
Ritz camera. There's a thing you'll never ever see again.
Oh my God.
That's an ad that is gone forever. I could have swore he just said Bob Dole for a second there. Popped up.
I'm surprised there aren't any good Clinton jokes in this movie. Oh. Oh, Rube. God, wicker furniture. I hate wicker furniture.
Does her furniture change every time too?
I feel like it does.
Now, wasn't this White Sox bad guy dude? Didn't they say something like he slid into him cleats up or something?
Yeah.
Is that's this baseball movie?
You know, I forgot to mention this. I think this is also the same year that A League of Their Own came out, which to me I think is the best baseball movie of all time.
Which one?
A League of Their Own.
Not Angels in the Outfield?
Not Angels in the Outfield. Because they made a shitty Angels in the End Zone sequel, and it diminished my enjoyment. Now, is the guy who plays Parkman, he's not the dad in Angels in the Outfield, is he? He just has the same look?
No, he's not. He's not. It's a very similar vibe, but no.
Omar Epps. They made a Mod Squad movie and Omar Epps was in it, and it was bad. Real bad. I miss Chicago so much right now. Love that town. I'm surprised that like they haven't figured out a way to like mic those people, because I wonder if those conversations happen at the bat.
You know what? Actually, it wouldn't be that tough to. I mean, a lot of football players get mic'd up. You just got to kind of build it into the helmet. Could probably find a way to do it.
I mean, wouldn't it be interesting to know if like those things actually happen? So that means he did his stunts? Peckerhead. Wesley Snipes doesn't come back to be in this movie. I wonder if he regrets it.
Yep, the shimmy.
Yep. Sick. So you obviously were surrounded by baseball for a long time, Tucker,
yeah.
with your dad, like
Yep.
in his affiliation with the Red Hawks.
Yep.
So did you guys always have like a baseball around the house? Like,
Oh, yeah, actually, typically, but I mean, it wasn't like we were all playing baseball or anything like that. But yeah, I remember when he was practicing to audition for Oli,
really?
he bought like a Oli and Lena joke book.
Yeah.
And, like, memorized all the jokes. And I remember for a full week just hearing him walk around the house doing the Oli voice and saying jokes over and over again.
A lot of stiff competition for that Oli role, do you think?
I could have been.
I bet you, because it has become really like,
I bet everyone who would have gone against him for it, we know.
I bet you, right? Like, I bet you some of them have been guests on this show.
I like that he's got Wild Thing just back, like he's locked in a cage.
Mm-hmm.
Not going to bring him out now.
So I remember the trailer for this movie when Wild Thing comes out of the bullpen. I remember vividly this woman going like, "He's back," and then rolling over to grab the cassette. Come on, Dorn.
It doesn't even have the ear guard on his cap.
Roger Dorn?
He's so good.
He's an actor that I'm surprised we never saw more of because he's funny. Like, he's got a lot of like funny stuff to him.
Yeah.
I love this. Like the way he like stamps his foot. Like, no. Uh-uh.
Man, this was before they could do fake crowds.
Mm-hmm. Even like look at the strobing on the
Yeah.
on the back there. Like it's before they figured out like how to film correctly
Yep.
with that. And like this was a time when like if you want that place to look full, you had to get actual people in there.
Right.
Have you seen that documentary about that guy who was charged with murder and was able to
Yeah.
get off like because of a Curb Your Enthusiasm
Right.
episode
'Cause
they were shooting?
They found him in the crowd shot.
Yep, at Dodger Stadium. That's a great documentary, by the way. Anybody who wants to see that. Fastball.
I would like to make a baseball movie.
Yeah.
I think it'd be fun.
Here's the thing. You 100% can play on emotions really easily,
Oh, yeah.
right? Like, I remember my dad watching the movie Little Giants, which is a football movie about little kids, and like actually shooting out of his chair and going, yes, at the end of it. Shut up, Randy Quaid.
This is where they send in Vaughn, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Send in Vaughn.
Shemp or Shoop or Shipley or whatever is. Shoop. So it's funny, all the like radio equipment they use, like that's all the stuff I still use.
What is the paper bag thing supposed to do for you?
So you're breathing in your own, like you're not just like hyper. It helps when you're hyperventilating because you're breathing in your own breath over and over, and it keeps you like concentrated, like the bag inflating and deflating, so you know you're actually getting air into your lungs.
Okay, because it feels like you're just getting your carbon monoxide or whatever it is back in you.
A Punch and Judy reference? Oh my god.
That old guy is standing right there staring at him. The leather jacket.
Yep. See, this is why I remember this from the trailer.
She just has it ready.
Is Nikki in the crowd? We got to find out. Here's the thing. This is a risky bet to make because imagine like watching like a Captain America movie where he doesn't pull his shield out until the last 5 minutes of the movie, right?
Exactly. So he was just back in some room.
Mm-hmm. Sure, we'll just piss away this whole thing because of a personal vendetta. You've been so bankable as a player this season.
And I mean, really, what happened? Like, he said some nasty things to him, right?
Right.
Like, that's what he did. Like, oh, he made sense. Do you think that's really the haircut that Charlie Sheen has in that moment, or do you think they gave him a wig?
Ooh, that's a good question. I feel like it might be a wig, although, like, I think he wears a wig in the Hot Shots movie, which would have been his next big project.
Well, and he legitimately got ripped for Hot Shots Part 2.
Right. I think, okay, of all the things I've always wanted to do, I think I would be phenomenal as, like, the Cracker Jack guy. Like,
You would be
peanuts,
great.
Peanuts, Cracker Jacks. Malnourished boy in the front wants some peanuts, protein. I don't know. Does that look like alpaca hair to you?
This guy's chin dimple,
Uh-huh.
it looks almost like it's fake. Yeah. I've seen this movie so many times, And I'm still sitting here going, what's going to happen?
Okay, do you remember the movie Indian in the Cupboard?
Yeah.
Okay, Parkman is the cowboy.
Okay.
Ooh, he was also Jack Murdoch in Daredevil in 2003. This guy who plays Parkman has been in a ton of stuff.
He's had a bigger career than most of the actors in this movie.
Mm-hmm. He did an Ernest movie in the same year. Jesus, in 1994, he did a TV movie called Texas. X's and O's, another TV movie. Raw Justice. Ernest Goes to School, Temptation, and Major League 2. He's busy.
You see, I don't want to play sports ever, but I'd love to feel a celebration like that. Right?
Yeah. Like, I wasn't that excited. Like, I didn't rush the screen at the end of Endgame.
Look at all that COVID happening right now. It's all those people hugging and give each other COVID. All these extras. These are like the family members of the crew.
There's so many sweaters in this movie.
I know.
Oh, no one for Dorn.
So she just wants them to fail because of a personal vendetta?
Yeah, at this point.
The General Cereals reps. Yeah, that's right. Keep it stepping.
Frankie. So it's Rick and Nick?
Yeah. Do you think she'd ever cut her hair like his hair?
Yeah, definitely. I've never asked someone out on a date and then they kissed me.
Yeah, but they have a history. This isn't like they just met. This is
Yeah,
like
right.
I guess we're on again.
You would think it's even worse because, like, she's told him to hit the curb like a couple of times. Plus, as far as we know, she's still dating that guy from Chicago.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Is there anything with these? Do they show anything during these credits?
I don't think so. I don't think this would have been great for like a blooper reel. Frankie is played by Michael Mundra.
Got it. Well, thank you for sitting through that with me.
Jay Leno as himself.
White Lightning is Jesse Ventura.
I'm surprised they didn't add the body in the middle of there.
Distinguished gentleman.
Clapper boy.
It's a ton of umps. Goodness. Yeah.
Bob Hopkins, not Bob Hoskins. Oh, you know what? Guys, we got Hopkins for the pitcher. We got Bob Hoskins. Hopkins.
He's going to play the center fielder for the White Sox.
He's going to be dressed in his outfit from Hook.
Yeah, I mean, there's so I wonder if they were able to just make a deal with MLB or if they had to make deals with like all the different teams as well.
Yeah, interesting question.
I mean, if they couldn't get General Cereals to sign on, something about how the actor who played the guy from General Cereals looked just made me laugh immediately.
And he was dumbfounded that he wasn't going to get his deal.
Mom, I'm in a movie with Charlie Sheen. I have a scene with him.
What? What are your lines? Well, makeup artist to Mr. Sheen.
Yeah, I honestly, I don't think I've ever seen any other Major League movie. I've only
we'll have
ever
to watch
seen
the other ones. They're good.
I think 2 stands alone. I think you get it. Oh, they were once this thing, and now they're this other thing.
But what's nice is in the first one, they start as the underdogs. As like there's a montage of getting the team together of like, you know, these ragtag group of people. Like, that's pretty good. Like, for example, there's a scene when they call Lou to offer him the job of being the general manager of, or the coach for the Cleveland Indians. He's working at a tire store, and he goes, I'll have to get back to you on that. There's a guy on the other line who wants to buy 4 white walls.
Oh, you got to get Mr. Sheen's publicist in the credits.
A lot of Baltimore action, looks like.
David Shack does great first aid on set.
Oh, so good.
But set gets it and construction gets their own.
Well, they had to hire a greensman, of course. See, here's the thing. Making a sport movie, you have people that normally wouldn't be involved. So, like, a person who's in charge of the greens.
Well, I would just be like, hey, ball team whose place we're... we just want to hire all your people that do everything to keep this place going.
And they probably did.
Yeah, MLB, okay. Major League, they licensed it through that. You could even tell with the older style credits that this wasn't just generated just off of a simple computer. Like, this could have been filmed on something.
So Baltimore must have been like one of their like shooting locations, because the Orioles are getting a lot of thanks.
You know what this movie makes me taste? Mountain Dew and Doritos.
Nice.
Because that's what I would always be drinking and eating when we'd watch this.
Ooh, they thanked IBM for their computing processing.
IBM. Oh, man. It's such a different time and place. All right.
Oh, this is great. This is good stuff.
Well, I appreciate you sitting through with me. This was like an itch I've needed to scratch for the past week, and I just couldn't.
Now you did it.
Now I did it. I'm trying to remember where it came up. Someone somewhere on social media had shared the Black Hammer White Lightning scene
trailer,
and I saw it, and it just brought all the memories flooding back.
By the way, you should sit and watch the credits when you see a movie. Like, this whole thing of like when people just swap it over, like, and there's 3 minutes left, like, acknowledge the people who worked on a movie, you know?
Yeah, totally.
And usually there's a little something great musically in there, whether it's a reprise of the score or a special tune.
Well, JJ, I appreciate you sitting through that with me.
All right. Back to the Myers next. We'll watch it 2, 3, 1. That's how I think the order. That's how the order should go. Oh, that was fun. Thanks, Tucker. That's going to wrap it up for today's show. If you enjoyed this episode and would like to help us continue to produce new episodes each week, visit jjmeetsworld.com, where you can donate to our Patreon, pick up some swag at the merch shop, or follow our link to Apple Podcasts and leave us a 5-star review. You can also follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all the sites the cool kids are using these days. JJ Meets World is produced every week by Tucker Lucas. You can find out more about Tucker's work by visiting moonbasemaria.com. If you want to get in touch with your host with the most, check out linebenders.com, where you can find direct contact info for JJ or booking information. You know, when you said we were watching Major League 2, for some reason, I don't know why, I thought we were watching a Bette Midler movie.